Episode 58 of the Back of the Class podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Ben.
And before we start off this week's episode, I'd like to say huge thank you to our sponsors, the Balgriffin Inn, Pitside Pizza and Grill, VAR Electrical, Members First Credit Union, and Coco's Cakes and Orem. And this week we're joined by
Dave Treacy.
Thanks a lot for coming in.
How you doing, boys?
All good yourself?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. It's great. What a setup. What a amazing podcast you've had over the last while. It's brilliant to see it growing.
Thank you.
Dave, for the people listening that might not know who you are or what you do, can you introduce yourself and tell the people what you think they might learn or what you hope they might learn off this episode today?
Alright, so my name is Dave Treacy. I am a DJ, a radio presenter on 2FM, and what you might learn, like we're learning a lot from these boys, but for me, just that the road to success is the enjoyable part. It's how you get there, what you do, what you experience, who you meet, and it's, you know, that's kind of where I'm at still.
Legend, thank you.
How's things with you at the minute?
Good, yeah, man. It's as busy as ever. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been DJing for over 25 years. You know, and I've had people like on the show who've been around the scenes for a long time, but like I'm still as energized and as hungry for continuing to do it as I've ever been.
That's amazing.
And what would you have a favourite song in that 25 years?
Favourite song? It's, you know what?
Or a favourite genre even?
Genre is house music. I still play house music now. It's what I kind of would be more known for, is my dance music, house music, DJing over that period. But favourite songs for me mainly connect to either an experience or a person at any one time within that career, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like you could have a favourite song that reminds you of one of your pals from 10 years ago. You remember something. That's kind of how I associate tunes rather than having one specific one, because I go through music so quickly as well in my job, because every week there's 100 new tunes that are in my inbox that I want to play, and there's another 1,000 that I don't play, you know. So musically things are so quick to churn now. But yeah, favourite songs, I've got favourite artists, like, you know, like a favourite artist at the moment are like Sonny Fodera, MK, you know, that kind of genre of probably crossover commercial house music. That's kind of where I kind of see myself when I'm DJing, and that kind of educating people to that sound and what's new at all times kind of is where I see it.
What would you call, I was actually having a little bit of disagreement with a few of my friends the other day. What would you call house music, and what would you call, what's the other word for the, do you know the music with no lyrics in it?
Trance.
Not trance, is another word.
Yeah, it's
Techno. What would you call house music, and what would you call techno?
Right,
house
define
music.
them as more so?
Sorry?
What would you define the two?
Define them as? I think house music is probably, in one sense, more uplifting, it's more accessible to at these days to a more commercially accessible. Like right now, if you look at the top 10, like over the last couple of years, 5 of those top 10 in the charts has been a dance music or a house music track. Then that has obviously sped up in tempo greatly. Like the stuff like Morgan C3 is like 140 BPM, whereas stuff like MK would have started out playing would have been 122 BPM, which would have been a lot slower, groovier, you know, different kind of sounds. And it over a span of time, those things have changed like a wave, like it's cyclical. People, you know, things are coming and going in styles. So how techno is much harder, much kind of, I suppose, hard to define each genre nowadays because they're all very
mixed,
gelled.
Do you think house music has to have lyrics in it? No.
The house music in itself is, from what I would think about it firstly, is kind of bass lines, grooves and pianos are a lot of the kind of classic houseier stuff that you would think, like if you think back of like MK's tunes from back when he started out being a producer, there might be a vocal, but it would just be a little repetitive little hook or something like that.
Like that song, Move Your Body.
Yeah,
Marshall
yeah, exactly.
Jefferson.
Marshall Jefferson's, geez, like you go back that far, and like without that vocal, that tune is still a house tune.
Yeah.
Like the vocals were added as nearly instruments within the tunes, if you like. It's like, you know, take out a vocal, put in a guitar riff, it might change it, but it'll still be a house tune.
Yeah,
You know?
actually thinking
So
of that now,
it's-
I thought the house music had to have lyrics in it, but that song, Bits and Pieces, you know that song? It's like,
Yeah.
That, would you call that house music? Because that has like an uplifting beat to it.
Yeah, it would be considered like, it wouldn't be a house music if you look back of like the history of house music, which being like in, I suppose, Chicago and all that back in America in the old days, you know. But then that would be going kind of almost into, how do you even describe that kind of tune? It's hard to,
Yeah.
it's hard even the older stuff now, because I've played all those tunes
Yeah.
at that point, and it was like, I thought I was playing trance back then. And then it was like progressive house, and it was like every genre has so many descriptions. It's kind of hard to line
It's
them all
hard
up.
to
now.
like, I think, pinpoint an artist as well. Like I often think of Drake, like he raps on certain songs and then he'll just kind of like, I don't know, like kind of sing certain songs. Like it's hard. I just call him an artist rather than call him like say a rapper or a singer. I just
Yeah,
say
it's
an
hard to
artist
define him.
myself.
Like my son is 19,
Yeah,
and he loves hip hop, rap. You know, his favorite artist at one point was Drake, Travis Scott. You know, but like he loves like rapping Drake and doesn't really like singing Drake.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and so is, or the other way around or whatever. It changes, you know, when you like an artist in different ways. But I think he would have been, he's probably one of his top artists at one point as well.
Bring us back to the start, when you first started what you're doing now, or when the dream sort of sparked in your head and when you realised this is what you wanted to pursue.
So when I was 18, I think I was in a car accident with my mum when I was young. I got like this little scar on my neck, and I think she had when I was 18, I got a little claim for being in the accident. So I got like €2,000 or something it was, and I was like, jeez, I'm loaded. But what I wanted to do with it was buy a set of decks. So back then it was like, it was vinyl. I started on vinyl, so it was you had to buy 2 vinyl decks and a mixer, and then you'd have like a hi-fi system in the house where you'd be able to connect stuff in, use speakers. And that. Nowadays it's a lot easier to buy €150 controller off Amazon and have it delivered to the house, and it's a lot easier to kind of get started. But back then it wasn't as accessible, I suppose, so you had to went and bought them, and there was a couple of guys I went to school with who also, like, DJing then wasn't popular. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like it is now to be a DJ is real cool and stuff. But like, we were like, oh, we're going to play tunes in our bedrooms or in the shed and be class. Like, so we were doing that. It was still in school. Must have been in 6th year in Cabra. And I was 3 of us all together. We had a share of records we'd all play. And from then I just started getting like, I just loved it. I just loved the idea of trying to mix 2 records together, make a continuous, journey of recording and stuff. And I think it was my cousin was living in Birmingham, and I went to visit him to go to a club. Like, I didn't drink or anything at the time. I was still just drinking, like have a few beers, whatever. But like at the time, I didn't drink. I was drinking cans of 7-Up and Red Bull and stuff. And I was like, I'm in this big club in Birmingham called God's Kitchen. And at that point, it was like hardcore was the music. It was like Lisa Lashes was a DJ. So if ever you want to go back and reference that kind of tune, have a listen to her. But it was at that point, I was like, this energy here is sick. Like, because it was like it is now when you go to see a DJ. Like, the energy in the room is pretty cool and infectious. So kind of got that cousin of mine, Dunica is his name. He moved back to Ireland. He was like, oh, Dave, do you want to come play some tunes at an after party? So I was like, cool, like, this is great. So I brought him a vinyl. It was like 100 in a bag. It was this big, massive, heavy square bag you had to bring around with you. Like, now it's just a USB, like, so it's a lot easier. But did a few gigs with him for his after party. So that would be after a club finished at 3, go to his house with all the people from the club, come back to the house. I was DJing from like 4 a.m. till maybe 10 a.m. in the morning. And then I'd like ring my mum and go, oh, I'm finished. Will you come collect me? I'm outside McDonald's in Dunleary. And then that just, I got the bug. I was DJing there for 6 hours straight, drinking cans of 7-Up And I was just like, this is absolutely deadly. You know, loved it. And I was getting great feedback all the time from it. So you're getting that like reassurance that the people love what you're playing. And I had good selection of tunes. And I was like, this is unbelievable. So I was probably
And when
19.
Sorry to come across here.
Yeah.
And when you were going to all these parties, a lot of people would have thought, oh, I don't really want to be up here DJing. I'd love to have a few drinks with the lads, or I'd love to, oh, look over there, or that girl, or blah, blah, blah. How did you stay focused? How did you think, like, no, this is what I want to do at this party?
I think I was just so into it.
Yeah.
I was kind of distracted by, like, you don't have any, when you're DJing vinyl like that, like, a track would have been 8 minutes long, right? So nowadays they're 3. So it's a lot quicker. So you have one thing, and at the time, like, you're getting the next one ready all the time for it to play out. So you're like getting the speed right, getting all that stuff. It wasn't automatically done for you. So I was like concentrating all the time. So I was just like busy. And you're just switched on and you're doing that for the entire time. So like, by all means, you know, you're socializing as well. Like, people coming up to you asking for tunes. They're you're always engaged with the audience or people you know, or you see people regularly at the parties. So like, it is there was a huge social element to it. And you get to know loads of people and stuff. So it was really cool. And I was quiet. I was a quiet kid, like, and it really helped me kind of grow out of that.
Was there ever a time where you were like mixing tracks but you couldn't really feel the music? Like, I can't explain the feeling, but sometimes like you listen to a song and you're not really like getting the same buzz you probably usually would have got off it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the time as well, it's about what the audience are doing, and if they're into it or not into it. Because that's part of huge, like, probably the biggest part of DJing is knowing what the people on the other side want.
Yeah.
It's not like I could love a tune, and they're not in that place where they want to hear it or dance to it, or it mightn't fit the vibe of the room, or if you know the individuals and what they like, or like when it was after parties, I was coming from a club where there was a certain type of music, for example, or what was popular at that time. If I went and played something completely way off, but they'd be like, this isn't the buzz, you know. So you kind of read the room for what the people want as much as enjoying it yourself, you know.
And how did you learn to like read the room? Did that come in experience, or were you always kind of good at
experience?
Yeah,
definitely. I think with I think those parties kind of molded me and gave me a real opportunity to figure that out, you know, because there's, when you go into a club or you're being paid to do something, and it's like there's a bit of pressure and you have to like get up, you know, perform almost. But when you're at a house party like that, you get to, like, as I said, cut your teeth on finding out, you know, what are you good? Are you, you know, do I like this? You know, those kind of bits, like, rather than, so it's just experience.
Did you ever have a moment in the early days when something didn't go your way, or you were a bit nervous going to something, or you made a mistake and the crowd sort of reacted? How did you deal with that in the early days?
You always there's always a nervousness there, like, you know, and I think if you didn't have it, you'd be like kind of cocky with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't always going to be this bit of a, oh, is this good, is it not good, am I nervous, a bit of butterflies. Luckily, like, I can't even remember a time where I probably got a negative reaction. I don't think people were in a zone to be doing that. They wouldn't. People are fairly sound. Like, they're not. If you make a mistake when you're DJing, or like you train wreck a mix, people were just like, oh, and you put it out quick enough, they don't really notice. You know, you learn to manage that. And the thing is, they pass so quickly. Like, even nowadays, if I'm on the radio, because I mix live on air when I'm on 2FM every weekend, and there's times where like things go tits up, and I'm like, and I just pull it out and I just go on the mic and I'm like, the joys of mixing live on to the nation. Like, you just have to own it, and then you're like, whatever, people don't care.
How did you see progression then, and how did you start to grow as a DJ?
Yeah, the progression side of it, like, as I said, I had my cousin that kind of drove the early movement into the scene. Then, you know, made other friends along the way, and, you know, shout out to one of my friends, Ronan O. Like, the first gigs that I got were kind of through a manager at the time, and then it wasn't really fitting what I was trying to do. But my mate Ronan had me cover a gig for him, because he had loads of gigs, and he was like, Dave, will you cover that one, because I'm busy doing these ones? And I was like, sound like. And then at the time, like, bars were a big deal. Like, there was lots of bars in town. There was lots of kind of late bars doing clubs and stuff. So you weren't shy of a few gigs, like, going around. So Rona set me up for a gig. The next thing I was doing every Friday, and then I'm like, I have to show up every Friday and do this. So you'd leave your day job, bring your bag of records into work, to be under the desk, pull them out, run from, because at the time I used to work in the GPO on O'Connell Street, and I'd have a gig on Grafton Street. So I'd finish work at 5:30, start work at 7 in a bar, and then you'd do 7 to 10 in one bar, and then at 10 o'clock I was starting somewhere else. So next thing I had like loads of pockets of little gigs every weekend, and that's kind of, for I think 5 years I was just on that circuit, you know. And you get, at the time, now it's tougher because there isn't as many clubs for people to be in that circuit.
Yeah.
But back then there were so many that we weren't crossing over on each other. You'd get your mate to cover your gig and he wouldn't rob your gig, you know. Because now if someone gets a gig, you're like, oh, you have to really trust someone to give them a slot to cover you, because then they try and rob your gig.
Yeah.
You know. So it was an interesting time, and I've seen it all change and come back and change and come back. So it's kind of cool, like.
In that circuit of when you had the day job and you were going to the bars late at night, was there ever moments where you were tired, or you were sort of like, this isn't working, or this is taking too long, or did you ever have doubts?
Not really, because so the two of them always aligned really well. Day jobs, like, I was, because I was DJing, it's like, it's a nighttime scene the majority of the time. So I'd finish work. I used to DJ Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday night gig would finish at 1:30, be home for 2, back up into work Friday, then straight into Friday night, and then Saturday night. So like, as much as DJing, I said at one point it was sociable, it became very unsociable.
Yeah.
So like, you'd have a group of friends who were within that scene, but the friends who weren't into going to those bars or stuff, very, very hard to find time to see them, you know. And your other pals who weren't, so then you kind of grow with a group of friends who were in the same
Circle.
kind of circles like that. So it was, I never really got tired of it. Still not, like, still kind of at that same love doing it. Like, people see me now, they're like, how do you fit it all in? Like, I'm just like, I've coached basketball for 8 years, you know, 3 days a week. Just wrapped that up last year. Like, my son's basketball team out in Blanchardstown, and I was doing that every week, working full time, doing radio, doing, like, do you know what I mean? So you just, it's like everything. You guys doing this, like, you're going after getting guests on, getting your sponsors, you know, in college, working, whatever you guys are doing, you know, you find time, you know, for your passion, because
That's what
it's
someone
passion.
actually said to us.
Yeah, somebody.
It was, you find time. What was it? You find time for the things that you really want to do.
Yeah, somebody very well said that to us. He said everybody's busy nowadays, as he's talking about people. Like, some people take ages to respond, or they tell you they can't do this because of certain things, and he's like, that is fair enough, but in reality everybody's busy, everybody has a life, but you always will find time for the things you really want to do.
Yeah,
And
like,
that's
it
the
took us a while to line this up, because I was chatting to you guys, and like, I've on my phone, like, I've a list of things up to the end of November now, and I'm like, right, every 2 days there's some sort of event on or something, and you're kind of just like, right, I need to make sure I get back to everyone, because you want to go, like, you want to do, like, I love talking to people. So this is brilliant to be able to sit down with you guys today.
Would you have it any other way though? Because I realised, myself and Glenn realised, even on Halloween night, we wouldn't drink, or not really into party and anything like that, and Sundays as well, just everybody's chilling out, relaxing. I hate them days. I cannot sit in my room for longer than an hour. I'm always, what can I do to either improve my life, or what can I do to work towards my goals, or what can I do to even socialise or network or some. Me and Glenn was talking about and said, we cannot wait for the day where,
Sunday.
like yourself, we have that schedule, we're filled up to November. Cannot wait for that day until we're constantly busy, constantly doing things. Like, I know for some people it sounds, oh, that's not great for your health or whatever, but I honestly wouldn't want that any other way. I think that's the only way you can get far in life as well, if you're just constantly pushing on, constantly driving forward, constantly.
Yeah, like, not being good, like, I just about, like, I don't really drink much at all or anything either. Like, you know, I try to eat well, try to go to the gym, trying to fit everything in, and well, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, when you're, as you said, you're busy. Like, I sit down at home rarely and stick on, like, Netflix, and like, one night maybe every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, that was grand to watch that. And then I know the next day there's something else on, so I'm not going to be doing that. So sometimes when I have that downtime, I not only justify it knowing that the next 3 or 4 days is hectic, but it's a hecticness that like you're enjoying every bit of it. So it doesn't feel like work, and it doesn't feel like anything. You know, you're just it's what you're doing. It's what you do.
Like
That's what
some
I always
people
say
that,
to you, isn't it? Like I think of success in a sense of like, I know a lot of people are like money driven, and I think that is important as well, but I think like on Sunday night, if you're not dreading Monday morning and you know you're going to enjoy doing what you're doing, you're
that's
successful.
success. Yeah.
100%.
'Cause-
That's actually a great way of putting it, because like success, and you probably ask everyone like about what their definition of success is, and like I always thought, like if I can bring you back to another thing I did at one point, like that made me understand what success was, like years ago, I'd say it must be 12 or 13 years ago. I was made redundant from a day job I had. One of my best mates was killed in a car accident. I had to move out of my apartment and move back in with my mother with my son, because because I may be made redundant. I had no money, and I wasn't working in radio at the time. I was doing nothing, so I was just like everything went wrong at the same time. I was like, what am I going to do? At the time, a good friend of my mother was his sister was a therapist, and he was like, you know, I was at the bottom. I was like, didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to do anything. And he was like, oh, you should go and have a chat, like maybe see if it'll, you know, help you feel better, or, you know, do some more. So I was like, grand. So went 6 times to see this lady, and like even now I think about it was the best thing I ever did. Like we spoke about a couple of things, like my dad left me when I was 1, so I had to deal with, you know, we used to deal with things throughout life. Everybody and anyone who listens has something. So I dealt with these like 5 or 6 different things that I wanted to kind of cover. And the last day, every time she asked me about music, I'd sit up like this, and I was just like, hands would be going, I'd be like getting into it. And she said, like, what are you going to do? Like, what's next? And I said, I'd love to pursue music. I'd love to pursue it. Like, I'd love to do more or do something in again. Because I'd fallen out of the DJ thing. I think it was like, there was a bit of a kind of drop in the scene or something. I kind of stopped doing as many gigs. And she started talking to me about visualization. And I was like, I'm sold. So she goes, what did I want to do? And I was like, Grant, I would love to DJ. And she goes, to how many people? And I was like, 2,000 people. At the time was a massive number, because none of the clubs really had a bigger capacity than that. It was like 2,000 people. And I get mad excited. Like, so I was talking about that, and she goes, okay, and how can you do that? And I was like, well, I've done radio in the past. I used to do pirate radio, and it was like, you know, I could maybe try and get into that again. And so that was fine. We made up some ideas, you know, I wrote these things down. She goes, who's your inspiration in radio? So my inspiration in radio is Pete Tong, who is kind of always has been the kind of like the godfather of dance music on radio to my generation anyway. And I printed out a photograph of him stuck in the back of my bedroom door in my mother's house that I just moved back into. So every day I woke up and I saw it, and I was like, you just passively see it. So it was an idea of a vision board, but it was literally just that picture I took. I didn't go down the full vision board idea. And so I was just seeing that every day subconsciously when I was getting up. And, you know, I got a part-time job at the time as well through my aunt. So I was like, you know, starting to get back out and about doing something. Then one of my friends at the time, he rang me and he's like, oh, Dave, I'm just randomly, like, he's like, oh, I'm going over to RTE, to a studio, knowing that I was feeling really low. And he's like, if you want to get out of the house, come with me someday. I was like, cool, yeah. So went with him, got to the studio, I met the guy who was running the whole thing. And he was like, oh, I remember you used to do Nova 947, which is the pirate station. He was like, oh, if you ever want to, like, you know, throw in a demo, I'd love to hear it. You know, and I was like, oh, that'd be sick. Like, so recorded the demo the next day in the studio, submitted it. They were like, love it. And then I got a radio gig straight away. I say straight away, it's probably like 2 months later. So from that, I was like going in every week. It was Saturday afternoon at the time on RT Pulse, which is like a dab station that RT had. It was like almost like a pirate station within RTE. It was just like under the radar. It was kind of like dance music. It was kind of cool. So started doing that. Out of that, then I started getting a couple of gigs again. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And there was a gig. There was a club in Swords at the time called the Right Venue, and I got a gig on a Friday opening for somebody, and sold out. And then went back, did a couple of gigs there. Went back to see that lady just to loop her back in, and I was like, yeah, I'm on radio. Well, DJ'd in the Right Venue. The capacity was 2,000 people. It was literally to the button of what we had said I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Only a couple of months prior, and pretty much everything I've done since, I have used visualization and manifestation for.
Yeah, it's mad.
Like
mental, isn't it?
What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to visualize something, or they have a goal and they don't know how to achieve it, or maybe they don't believe in themselves?
Well, that story, if anything, like for me, I had no belief in myself at the time.
Yeah.
I was low. Like, you know, I had my son who was young at the time, and we were, you know, he kept me going. I had to do a lot of stuff for him, and we were always busy. And like, if you other than that, it was very low. So there was like, you kind of just had to nearly get on with it a little bit, and you kind of go, once you find your passion. If you find your passion, you've won. Like, so I mean, if you find what it is you're passionate about doing all the time, that'll help you get through to anything, any kind of line you want to go in.
Yeah.
Like when I found out the music was the thing that made me sit up and get animated about.
Yeah.
So that's my passion, and I'm obviously still delivering on that. But I suppose for someone to understand it or trying to move with it, I do think visualization works like at 100%. Like if you have an idea of something you want to do and you don't think it's achievable, or you think, oh, it's a bit like far-fetched now for me, you know, or either for where you're from or how much money you have at the time or what you have or haven't got, like literally write it down. It could be, you know, it could be answering it, because like when I put down numbers of I want to DJ too, like just this year, just last summer when I was in Ibiza last summer, I was leaving and I was at the sign in Ibiza and I took a picture of myself, got a picture taken, my girlfriend Adele took a picture of me, and I was like, I want to come back here next year and play in High. And High is the #1 club in the world that year. Yeah. And this summer I played on High.
That's amazing.
Man.
And it's not by pure fluke, like I worked for it.
Yeah.
Like, but it gave me that vision and it reminded me that that's what I want to do. And then the opportunities arise, like, or you see them clearer.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it is.
Just by writing something down, you don't realise how much clarity that gives you.
Yeah.
It's like something you says, it's like at first your vision is blurry, but as you start heading towards it, it starts to get clearer.
It's like a car going through fog. You kind of have to think of like seeing it before you can see it.
Yeah.
Then when you drive through it, you hit it and you're like, geez, I'm actually here.
Just from writing that down, and maybe you read that once a week, or you have a look at it, or you subconsciously, that's not just a thought in the back of your head that you think about maybe once before you go to sleep and think, oh, I'd love to do that, and then never think of it again. By looking at that, when you go out that morning, say, you could think, right, I want to join a gym. And then as you're walking, you could get talking to somebody in work and they're in a gym and you're like, oh my God, I want to join a gym. Is your gym taking on memberships? And that's how the sort of dots connect, because when you're looking, it's like the red car theory. When you're looking for something, you'll see a lot more of it. But when you just have something in the back of your mind and you think, oh, it's going to come and present itself to me in this big bow, it's not going to happen. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're dead right. Like, because and that's just as you said, red cars. But like, I remember I took a photograph outside High. For last summer. And then I played there this summer. It's because I had that vision, even though I didn't really look at that picture again. But the day I took the picture, I was like, I'll be sick to play here next year. And it came through networking. Like, it was networking from 10 years prior that got me that gig this year.
Yeah.
With like James Hype
That's mental.
and he's got a good friend
His
of mine.
story's unbelievable as
Yeah.
well, James Hype.
And in the same vein, like, he went after everything he wanted to do, like, and
Yeah.
so it was through his team and James that I got that gig because it was their residency on a Monday.
You mentioned the networking off camera as well. Why do you think networking is so important?
Because it's the ways to open up opportunities for yourself. But at the end of the day, we get to meet people, and like today we've met. Do you know what I mean, for the first time?
Yeah.
But we networked on. It was on Instagram. We were chatting before, and like I don't even know how he saw me before or found me or whatever. But
To be honest,
reached
like
out.
it was another like goal of mine. Like I would have seen it. I always have people in the back of my head. I'll text them, but I probably don't text them when I should text them. I text them probably months in advance. So I've always had a lot of people in the back of my head. So
That's I appreciate that, because like I still think it's gas when people reach out to me to talk to me, because I'm so used to doing it the other way around. Where like, as I was saying when I came in earlier, like when I started the networking side of what I was doing, I was saying like my day job, I was saving up money.
Yeah.
And where people save up to go on holidays, I was saving up for Miami Music Week, which was and still is probably one of the biggest international dance music conferences of the year. So I had a mate who lives in Boston. I rang him, his name is Dave. I was like, I'm going to go to Miami for a music conference. And I knew like you need to budget for that, like flights to Miami, staying in Miami for 3-4 days maybe. You know, it's $2,000, spending money, accommodation, the whole thing. I was like, want to go and do a few interviews for the radio show. So he flew down from Boston, because its internal flights are like $100, $150. Cool. He flew down. He had a nice camera. He brought that with him. I was like, sound, so you can video. And I went on Facebook, found like, I think it was the people I was interviewing. It was like Jax Jones, James Hype, all these people. But like, I was finding out who their managers were and emailing them, telling them, oh, I've got this massive radio show in Ireland. And at the time, the show wasn't by any means massive.
Yeah.
It was like, I was starting it out, like, and I was like, I'd love to catch some time with James or with whoever it was all like, that's the new music people at that time. And they're like, oh yeah, we'd love to come on the show. And like this, I had a mic which plugged into my phone at the time. It's like one single microphone that plugged into my iPhone. My mate had his camera, and I was literally over and back interviewing all these different DJs.
And what were you asking them?
But it was all about my whole thing has always been about new music. So if they have a new music release in that week or that month, we're kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
And that's what I do on air now, is like push new music, talk about the artists, understand like their current position in the scene, you know, what the scene is like, where they're from, and you know, things like that, more so than anything else. It's mainly really about that, or if they've played in Ireland and where they would like to play in Ireland. So that networking piece is huge. But here, when I was in Dublin in the scene earlier as well, I remember going to Jax Jones was playing in the right venue. It was Jax Jones and Robbie G. Robbie was probably
That's mad.
19.
Yeah.
Right. I've known Robbie since he was 16.
Yeah, we had Robbie on this.
Yeah.
It's mad.
You know, he's an absolute legend. Like,
Yeah.
but he used to send me music back then. I think it was like, I'm not sure if it was Brown Eyes. Brown Eyes was it the first track he ever sent me, but we'll remember that again. But he was sending me tunes back then. But it was Robbie and Jax Jones were playing on this Thursday night, so I messaged Jax and I was like, oh, I'd already done an interview with him in Miami, you see, so he knew of me and knew me. So I was like, oh, I'll pop by the hotel, say hello, because I knew he'd be kind of hanging out. So I was there and said, he was like, oh, that's grand. Went to the venue. He got picked up from the hotel. After his gig ended, he was finished at 1:30, and then Robbie went on to do the closing set. And he's like, the promoter at the time was like, oh, there's no lift home. We thought you'd be going at 3. And Jack's like, oh no, I'd like to head off now. I was like, I'll drive you, because I was going to work the next morning.
Yeah.
So I drove him back to his hotel, and from then on, like, I could text him today, just like that whole bond has made.
It's mad, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So now, when people are coming to Ireland, I've got that same friendship with an awful lot of people, like a lot of DJs in the scene, and some more than others. Some of them I'd actually be like proper good mates with,
Yeah.
and other people I'm really good associates with.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you just take a measure of that and see who can you know. And then there's other people I have never met who then know me and were like, oh, Dave, I'm coming through Dublin are you around? Or let's meet up, or people you've been talking to on Instagram for a while. Like,
Yeah.
Just there, do you know, if you know Example, he would have been, Example would have had some massive hits probably within the last 10 years anyway. You'd know his tunes if you heard him. It's kind of, but he's coming to Dublin, playing the Tree Arena next Tuesday. So I was like, see, you're coming back to Dublin. He's like, oh, come down to the show. So, you know, I'll do that now. He's English, living in Australia. So he's opening, he's a kind of high energy dance music, and so when he raps he raps a bit or MCs a bit, I suppose, but he's on with like JLS or on after him. So it's like Tuesday in the Tree Arena next week. So, but those kind of things, I've never met him properly.
Yeah.
But I'll meet him this week, and I've been talking to him for 10 years
Yeah.
on Instagram or something, you know. So the networking is so important, because
Everything, when you think of it, is built up off relationships. Like, there's a book I'm still reading. It's a big enough book, so I'm getting through it. And anyways, it's called Never Eat Alone, and it's all like, it's #1 networking book, and it's like one of the first chapters. It says like, we're all humans who live on this earth, so everything is relationships. Like, everything that you see today has been built through past relationships or whatever it may be.
yeah.
And actually, a big enough artist, I won't mention who the artist is, but we met him before with the podcast, but we didn't get to do anything with him. And just from talking to him and his team, his manager ended up seeing me on Instagram a few weeks later, followed me, and that was about 5 months ago maybe. Ever since then, I've been texting him back and forward non-stop, like, not non-stop, but we've kept in contact, and eventually we sort of got deep in conversation and started telling each other our whys and what we are looking to achieve and things like that. And he really had a lot of respect for me, and especially because of my age too. And now he's coming over in the next 2-3 weeks without the artist, and he says he just wants to go for a coffee or a chat, and he says when the artist is coming over again, he's going to bring me and Glenn in backstage, and we can do the interview, and we can see the experience of being backstage. And all of that is just from a simple conversation and networking with somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the most important part of it is just be real.
Yeah.
Because people see right through
being authentic.
everything else. Like, there's no point in pretending that you're a nice person. Like, you just have to be authentically nice and honest. And, you know, like, if you're saying, I was waiting here, I've been trying to make this happen for the last few days, or I've been waiting here for a couple of hours to try and get this, people know you're hungry for it then.
Yeah.
And they know you're authentically looking to do it. And they're not going to be like, you know, if you're saying, oh, I've been waiting here for a long time, and it's like, that's grand, you can still wait. But if you're sound about it, like, I've always approached things with as much, like, being as sound as possible. Like, you know, there's no point in doing anything otherwise.
It's nice to be nice.
That's why we always show interest in the person we're actually trying to interview. Like, we always genuinely have that as a goal for what we want to do. Like, we wouldn't just see someone and say, oh yeah, we want to interview them for clout or for viewers. Like, we actually want to interview them because we want to know
and
about
a bit
them.
of respect as well. Like, we had a story with a big artist. His name's Bryson Tiller. He has a song with Rihanna.
I was actually going to say him,
And we were at his hotel. We found out, we were in contact with his team, and we found out he was landing at this time, and they said, look, go to the hotel at this time and we can sort this interview out. So we got to the hotel, and he ended up being 2 hours late or something, and we're waiting there 2 hours. We weren't in the hotel, waiting outside in the cold, the rain, the whole lot. And eventually he came on a bus then, and he was taking ages, and his team started like saying, no, hang on, don't come over, wait there, blah blah blah. And the hotel staff didn't know it was organised, and they were sort of pushing us away. And then the artist got off the bus then, and he had his daughter with him, only young, maybe 13 maybe, and they looked tired, like it was late at night, and they started pushing through, and we were like, oh, can we get this interview done, blah blah blah. And his brother was like, just wait, just like, we'll do it tomorrow, he's very tired, like. And he was right in front of us, and if other people probably would have said, no, he's right there, blah blah, and pushed for it, and in front of his daughter, jumped in his face, put the cameras in his face, and we were like, you know what, his daughter's there, he said we'll wait tomorrow. He could be lying, he could be not, but we're going to show respect either way. So we said to him, no problem, thank you, we'll be back tomorrow. He said, cool. We came back the next day, And he came down, then his brother came down and said, "Oh, Bryson's coming down now at about 5 o'clock, make sure you're around and we'll get this interview done." So Bryson came down then at 5 o'clock, and there was a big crowd waiting outside because this was the time he was over with Chris Brown, and a lot of people thought Chris Brown was in there with him, and he wasn't. And people were pushing us, and they were all trying to get in the hotel and all, and people seeing Bryson, and they're all running at him and that, and we're sort of standing back like, whoa, how are we going to do this interview? And his brother spotted us, pointed at us, brought us into the hotel, brought us into a back room, set us down with Bryson, gave us 10-15 minutes down the interview, and then just chatting to him after. And Bryson offered us tickets and all, and said, "I have a lot of respect for what you was done yesterday. Just because of that, I made sure I done this interview today." And we were like, "Thanks a lot. Like, it means a lot."
Like, I can say it exactly. I've done pretty much exactly the same thing. Like, I've travelled, like, I don't know if I've travelled to, like, lots of gigs within Dublin, but travelled to, like, Galway to interview someone one time, and they got there and they weren't. They were again tired. We just got off a flight, and they drove from Dublin. You know, it was kind of, they just got to their hotel. I was meant to interview them at the gig, and by the time they got to the gig and everything, and they were like, "Just don't actually want to do an interview because I'm gonna," like, without having to explain, I knew they weren't going to represent themselves or the interview at all well.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "It's cool. We'll catch it again." Like, you know, and we did. You know, multiple times.
And that's what I do think, like,
you know,
everything happens for a reason. Like, if he had done that interview and kind of was tired and half-arsed the interview, it wouldn't have been as good as what it was from just waiting that period of time to get it done.
What's your why? Why do you get out of bed? Why do you? A lot of people who's in your position right now would think, "Ah, well, I'm already at down the venue with 2,000 people. I played in Ibiza. I have the radio show. May as well just go out. I'll party every weekend, or I'll just relax, or I'll sit back." Why do you keep pushing forward?
I love DJing. Like, I love lots of things. Like, I was saying earlier, I coach basketball. Like, I play basketball still, in a men's team in Blanchardstown, because I love basketball. I love DJing, so I constantly go after the enjoyment of doing it. Like, this year I played Electric Picnic, and I just had, like, there was kind of a boiler room set up on that, and I was DJing it, and I had a new camera that I got, and I put it in front, and I connected the audio into the mixer, and it's got a real clean feed, and I was watching back, and it's the first time I've seen how happy I look when I'm DJing. And I was like, oh, I really look like I'm enjoying myself there. And at the time, I was loving every minute of it. So I was like, it reaffirmed, because I don't usually get pictures of the front of myself or videos, because I usually get people taking pictures of the back of my head. And I was like, but that reaffirmed how much I enjoy it. Like, so just for the love of the DJing, and no matter how big a crowd or small a crowd it is, I've DJed at a fashion show in a place called the Juice Jar up in Dawson Street recently, and it was literally, it's a juice bar, and it was for a fashion show, and I was playing house music for a while, and then I was like, right, they're about to come in and do a lot of clothes, and I could see the energy of the room. I switched it up and I played like Victory Lap and some like big hitter stuff, and I was just like, just the vibe. It's that you get that energy, like, but even at that, I don't know, just for music, that's my thing. I love doing it. I still love doing other stuff, like go hiking with my girlfriend. She does hiking and yoga and stuff, so we do all that. Like, we travelled to Ibiza off season just last month and did this big hike, and I was just like, this is sick, like, it's just about finding the things you love to do, and they'll make you get up in the morning. Like, this is the only way to do it.
What do you think are the main traits to your success so far?
Just being reliable, being approachable, being luckily talented at what I'm doing, because I found the thing that I'm passionate about. But I think just being reliable and being approachable and being just a go-to person for, as I said, gigs big or small. You can get into a piece sometimes where you become, there's a fear of becoming just the reliable guy sometimes, where you can get kind of like, people can nearly take advantage of it sometimes. I've seen that in the scene a few times where I've been like, Dave will do that, or I don't have to look after Dave or give Dave the VIP treatment for his gig because he'd be grand, he'll look after himself.
Yeah.
So there's elements of being sound, approachable, reliable,
But also
and
knowing
then
your
also
worth.
knowing your worth. Yeah, that's, you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm big into that as well.
And that is something I've struggled with because I know I'm good at it, but you're like, it was a very Irish thing. Like, you can't be telling yourself you're too good at it. Like, you know.
It's actually a quote I was saying. It's the ones who are successful in life aren't the most talented or hard working. It's the ones who have the audacity to ask for more when things are going well.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's
even
an amazing
Lil
quote.
Baby talks about, like, somebody asked him like how do you deal with hate, and like they were asking like a few hard times he went through in his life, and he was saying one quote I always just say to myself is like, I know who I am and I know what I'm on, as in like he knows what he's like focused on and what he wants. So he says once I know them two things, everything else looks after itself.
Yeah.
And like that's something that hit me deep.
Yeah, that's great. Like, and as you said, Blended, knowing your worth is like, I'm very good at telling other people what their worth is and how good they are at things.
Yeah.
And then like, I like over the last, I'd say probably over the last 5 years, I've learned to know my own worth more, and that's like, you know, that's not even that long ago.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes a lot of time to kind of push yourself like that in that way. And like my show that I'm doing now, like I know like that's growing because when I'm out and about, I meet people and they're like, "Oh, Dave, love your show," and I'm kind of going, "Whoa," you know. There's an awkwardness there, but also you love to hear it. You know,
Yeah.
like any festival I go to, if I go to a dance music festival now, specifically because that's my genre and that's what I do, like the amount of people that I will talk to and it'd be like, they'll come over and say hello, or like, can we get photos, or can we, and even at that I'm there kind of still going, this is sick. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
important
'Cause-
not to get imposter syndrome, I think.
Oh yeah. Like I know now, like I said, now, within the last 5 years, I now know, right, they like what I do, they've respect for what I do, because I am good at it. But I'll never be the person that's like, no, I don't want a photo today. You know, I'm always like, if people enjoy what you're doing, you gotta allow them to enjoy it all completely.
Yeah,
Like.
because at the end of the day, like, fans is why where people are where they are.
Yeah.
That's something like Jay-Z said, he always gives time to the fans because like they took him out of hood basically.
Yeah, that's massive actually as well.
What makes you confident?
Jeez. I think knowing what I've come through, like, you know, when I was low, I brought myself out of it. I have confidence in myself to be able to do that for myself and others. So, like, I could sit down here and have a chat with anyone and they'll tell me, if you know, I'm open enough for them to be able to tell me how they feel about stuff, I can help them with stuff. So the confidence that I hold is like, it's about how I am as a person more so than anything. So how I treat other people, how, you know, that's kind of the stuff that makes me know, as you said, know your own worth. But it's like, I know the value that I have that I can bring to other people isn't just like music, because if that goes away at any point, I'll still be confident in knowing that I've always treated people well. I've, you know, put my best foot forward for everything I've done as I've come up. You know, I've raised, my son's 19, you know, I've gotten him all the way along to where he is now, and he's an amazing young man. You know what I mean? He's a barber, he's in college, works the weekend in a coffee trailer, does, you know, plays basketball in college and stuff. So when you achieve stuff like that, you know you've done well, or you've put your best efforts into, and you've delivered it to the best of your ability, you just have confidence in yourself for having done those things, I suppose.
I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. They were feeling low on themselves and they were lacking in confidence, and they just felt like life was against them. And I'm not good in them situations, but from my own experience, I just started talking and I was telling them, look, they were mentioning that they wanted to head to the gym and they felt like their life wasn't moving in any sort of direction, and they had something they were passionate about, but they were afraid of what other people were going to say about it if they pursued it. So I said to them, look, the best thing I could say to you is start by setting small goals. Start by, when you wake up tomorrow, say, right, I'm gonna go and walk the dog today. That could be so small, but when you go and do it, your brain is like, yes, well done. You're at the going. You said it this morning, and now you're actually doing it. Well done. and then keep doing that the next day, set another little small goal, another one, and all them small little wins, they can build up to a big win then, where eventually then you can go and you can, say, set up the Instagram to that thing that you want to pursue, but you're afraid of what other people think, because in your mind you're already at that winning, and this is going to work out, because if I can say I'm going to walk the dog and I go and walk the dog, well, I can say I'm going to pursue this and I'm going to pursue it. And it's just about building up a belief in yourself, isn't it? It's like, if you don't believe in yourself, and if you're not going to push forward for your dreams, who's going to do it for you?
Like they say, the earliest win of the day is the biggest win of the day. And like, so whatever, like, what's the first win of the day? Is getting up and making your bed.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one today, because that's what they're giving you the kick then to move on with your day, and you'll be most likely positive about that then.
Yeah, it's, and like as you said, a lot of the stuff that, like when I was saying I went to speak to that woman about it, it's about having other people that you can talk to.
Yeah.
You know, and even if it's not like a direct friend of yours, because like friends and family, you can, you know, they'll all have opinions for you. As well. But if you're passionate about something yourself and you go, look, I really like this, but as you said, the person was afraid to either even talk to their parents about it, or their peers, their group of friends, or but you know, getting that part is hard sometimes. And like I have to have a chat with you, like I don't know how close you were to them or whatever, but if you find that one person that will be either just listen and let you talk about it, and then as you're going through it, you'll find the best bits of it. And like I said, like I do think visualization, like we said earlier, is crazy. Like.
It is.
That's one of my sort of things that I'm glad I am this way, because a few years ago I wasn't the same as I am now, and now when I get talking to people, I obviously wouldn't have an opinion on them, but these could just be mutuals. I just know them to say hello, nothing else, and I could have a little conversation with them. And I always try and find, when I'm talking to them types of people, what is that thing, as you said, they sit up and start talking about. I'm always trying to, whether it's cars, whether it's music, whether it's comedy, whether it's anything. And when I find that thing, then I realise, right, I'm talking to you on a building site right now. Why aren't you doing something on the weekends to work towards that? Or why aren't you just doing this or that? And they're thinking, oh, this person will be say this, or I don't know where to start. And I'm like, well, hang on. If you really, are you sure about this? Do you want to like give it a go? Do you want to give it a crack? Yeah, I just don't know where to start. Well, hang on, I have somebody in that scene. I can text them for you, and why not go and just do it? The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, but also the best time is now. Like, and I'd be saying to them, like, it's hard. Like, this was hard starting up. Like, I was terrified to post this on my story at the start, because everybody nowadays thinks they have this like aura, or they think they have this like, oh, I'm cool, I'm blah blah, and it's you are cool, but nothing's cool about living a life of regret and saying, oh, I didn't chase this because I thought that person would laugh at me, or didn't do it. The cool thing is chasing it, and then down the road, we had people that used to laugh at us who are now texting us saying, oh, how did you get this person? How did you pull that off? Like a prime example would be Macklemore, seeing somebody in the crowd, and they said to me, they knew what me and Glenn would be at, and this was in the early days, and they were like, what you was doing here, you aren't going to get Macklemore. And then later on I posted a picture of my story with Macklemore. That same person swiped up, you're a man of your word. I just replied with laughing faces, because like if I had listened to that person and said, he said I'm not going to get Macklemore, I'm probably not going to get Macklemore, I wouldn't have got Macklemore. You have to just push forward.
I think it's Val Radican. I could be butchering his name now, to be honest, but he even says, if you want bad advice, go around and ask everybody. And that is a fact. Like, you just have to listen to yourself sometimes and go with your gut and pursue whatever you want to pursue.
Like when I started DJing as well, I was lucky that like social media wasn't a thing. Like, you didn't have to worry about other people's opinions as much, because everyone like now feels like they've got the authority to tell you what they think. And they do. They can tell you what you think. You just have to listen to it. But it's sometimes people can find it very hard to not listen, or to not take on like all the negative comments, or the slagging, or you know, who do you think you are, or what do you think you're doing, or because people do, and they're the very people who aren't doing anything, or haven't found their passion yet, and as soon as they do, they will then go, oh yeah, that's what the boys are doing. This is the feeling they had when they started doing that. So, and you hope that for everybody, like you know, I'll even just mention her for a second, but my girlfriend, like Adele, we're going out together just over 4 years. and she always had a passion for like, you know, doing a bit of fitness, and she loved yoga, loved going to yoga classes. Then she started doing, like, she loved the idea of visualization, did a couple of vision boards classes, attended some stuff. She is now a yoga instructor, qualified yoga instructor. She did her first yoga class for public that she booked out herself in Newbridge, her hometown, last weekend. And she just announced that she's taking 50 people to Spain to the Camino, which is a hike at the north of Spain. And, you know,
She was on Ireland AM, wasn't it, today?
she was on Ireland AM this week as a model.
Like, yeah.
So, you know, but she's done all that through finding her passion for that and moving towards it and visualizing it. And now she does vision board workshops now. And so people attend hers, you know.
Yeah, man.
And also surrounding yourself with the right people. I'm sure you gave her a little push as well. And
yeah, like anywhere I could help or give opportunity, I do. And that's not just even just for her, it's for anybody. Like, where people, like, even for yourselves now, we know each other, even though we've only sat in this room for half an hour.
Yeah.
But like, if I see something now where you guys go, no, Dave, do you know, feel free to like message me and be like, do you have a contact for that person?
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah, you can.
Thanks a lot.
No, you can, because all of the people that I know,
and likewise feeling.
Yeah,
if
like any of the
anything we could help
DJs
with.
in the scene that I know, they can rely on me for, you know, I'm not going to come in and ask them a load of questions that are going to put them on edge or trying to get like clickbait stuff out of them.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about tunes, going to have a grand chat, you know, have a bit of a laugh, and then they'll go off and do their gig, and then they'll see me in the booth halfway through the gig just having a bop, you know. And in turn then they'll go, oh yeah, I remember Dave's in Dublin, or Dave's in Ibiza this week, and send me a message saying, do you want to come down to the show? You know, prime example, like Sonny Federa. I'm good mates with Sonny now, and he was in Pasha at Ibiza. We were on holidays, and we went along, you know, messaged him and his team, and they were like, oh yeah, come down. But we went down, and we had to get into the club real late, like it was Pasha, so we got there at 2:30 in the morning. He was on at 3, and we were in the DJ booth in Pasha with Sonny, and Adele, my girlfriend, she was there, and at 6 o'clock it ended, and we went backstage and had a quick chat in the green room, and he was like, oh, Adele, like, how come you're still here? You usually bail, you know, because she's not a big drinker or anything, so usually 4 o'clock she's like, I'm ready to go home.
Never was mad,
you know. So, but you know, it just goes to show how normal they are, these big DJs that you've all met as well. How human they are, but also they remember everything. Like when he was DJing, he remembers that we leave, because we don't always get to say goodbye, because, you know, they're in a big massive club. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm going home. You don't want to kill their buzz, like. So you just sneak out and you know, send a text the next day going, thanks for everything, you know. And that's important as well, is like to follow up and be sound 100%. And show your appreciation, because
that's something I always say to people, is like, everybody puts people on pedestals or whatever, but when you actually listen to people, like I was listening to Lil TJ on a podcast last night, and he was saying when he started off in rapping, he was getting massive hate, and he ended up getting shot, I think, 7 times, because he was messing. He said he had 2 times less than 50, and he was saying that, like, he really, like, was in a bad place at that time, but he said he used visualization, and like, somebody said to him, like, mate, you're not even going to sell out the Bronx, in the place in the Bronx. And he said, matter of fact, I'm going to sell out arenas in Europe, and that's exactly what he's doing now. We were at his concert 2 years ago, and like, it's crazy to think, like, and somebody asked him, well then, if you visualise that, then why aren't you selling at Wembley? He said, because I didn't have that written down. And something that he said that sticks with me is that you can't hit a destination that you can't see. It's like on a sat-nav, like, you have to set to where you're going, to focus going that way.
Yeah, it's a good way. Like, I took times where I was like, you know, so I forgot that I was reaching the goals that I'd written down, and then I look back at them, or you find a piece of paper that you wrote down. Like, I actually last year as well, when I said I wanted to play high, I wanted to release music, and this year I released my own track with a friend of mine in England called Tom Brown. It was called Get Close. Released that and played in high. Played in O Beach, Ibiza. They were all written down on the one page the list of clubs. Play Ministry of Sound in London. That was written down on it as well. And these were all written down before I even got the booking or got engaged with the venues or anything like. So it's 100% like.
And do you think surrounding yourself, like you mentioned, you network with these big DJs like Sonny Federa, I've seen you at Room 94, people like that. Do you think being around them types of people and seeing how they operate and seeing how they have big goals and are pushing towards them no matter what other people are telling them or how other people are trying to drag them down, do you think that's good for yourself as well, working towards goals?
Yeah, I think so. But like, they're kind of the people that are, what they're doing is what I want to do, you know, and I'm looking at, you know, my routes to getting to play these big venues. And so it's kind of, it puts you in the room that you want to be in.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you're like, right, I'm not necessarily DJing today,
But I'm in the
but
room.
then like High is a prime example of that. Like I was at High in Ibiza the 2 years prior, and I was in the green room because whoever was DJing, it was Medusa were playing, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll put you on a guest list and, you know, come see us in the green room and we'll have a drink or whatever. So that was like sound. I was in the green room, Medusa were there, and I remember like David Guetta walked in because he was headlining, and like the green room was probably, you know, it's a cool room.
Yeah.
And there's these couches, and every artist has a couch with a table with their rider, and, you know, their name is printed out on a piece of paper and it's in a frame, and it's like, you know, everyone has their corner of the room.
Yeah.
And I have that picture of me at my table with my piece of paper, which I brought home with me, because I was like, smash that goal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I brought home the piece of paper that had my name written on it and the name of the night and the club, the A4 page with Dave Treacy written on it. I was just like, I'm going to bring it because you're
Memories.
feeding it back into the visualization that I previously did. And then it reminds me to set the next goals. Like I have them already set for next year. Do you know what I mean?
Amazing.
And I don't even use the word hope to do it. I just be like, I'm just going to do that next year.
Yeah.
And it'll figure itself out.
You have to, the way I put things like that.
You don't know the how. I butcher this quote, but it's like you don't know the how, but you do it anyways. Like you don't know how it's going to come, but you know it's going to come.
The way I put things like that is, you have to pretend you're asleep before you fall asleep. You don't just fall asleep. You have to get into bed and close your eyes and imagine that you're already asleep.
You don't know when you're going to fall asleep.
That's
but hope that, and you know you will.
You know you will.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's what you have to do in life too. Like that's something that we all do every night, but subconsciously nobody even takes it in. That's why when we set these big dreams, I feel like they already happened, or I'm walking around like it's already happened, or I'm telling people this is gonna happen. Like because if you're afraid to put it out there, you're probably afraid to actually shoot for it and take it.
100%.
Take every opportunity that comes your way in that avenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's opportunities. It's just doors opening.
Yeah.
And you don't see them if you don't. As you said, like if you're not putting, like if I have, like there's certain clubs I want to play now, and there's no like straight up way for me to get in there and just be like playing. So, but I meet someone at a gig sometime and they're like, oh yeah, we're thinking of doing something here, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like I know you say it, you're like, oh, I'd love to do that sometime.
Yeah.
And you know, or a manager of one person that you met at this gig happens to be a manager of another DJ completely, and they're playing somewhere, or they're in Dublin, and they go, oh, I will put you on that one, you know, and then you end up there, you know, through a different route. So they're all,
a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
No,
it's a fact.
No.
What is the best piece of advice you ever received, and what is the worst piece of advice you ever received?
Oh man, well, it's like the best advice. It's a tough one really, because like I've been told, the worst advice is easy, because like, you know, I was bullied in school. I was told I never do anything, you know, you get put down. It's very easy to get that done. Like one of the worst pieces of advice was that I remember when Instagram was probably in its early days, and at the time I was like just figuring out what it was about. I was like posting stuff, you know, here's my food, here's my new pair of runners, and I got told by a guy who was like, you know, stop posting like stuff about what you have or what you're doing. It's like it's not cool. You look real boasty. I'm like, no, I just like these, and this is what this
showing people
platform
what they
is.
can have.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was just literally like at the time with Instagram, it was like that's what people were doing. They were posting pictures of themselves or stuff they had. It was a lot of stuff on Instagram. It wasn't very many people. It wasn't stories. It was literally just grid posts. And he was like, "Oh, don't do that." And I'm like, true. That's the only way now that I share everything, every single thing I do. Like, you know, social media. So, yeah, probably the worst bit of advice was like to stop posting stuff about myself, because that's the only way you grow now is trying to get that stuff done. Yeah, best piece of advice is probably, you know, when I was told about how to find my passion and write stuff down about how to get there. That's it. Like when I went to see that lady, about getting some, it was hypnotherapy it was called at the time, and she was just closed my eyes. She was talking to me about different things, you know, getting through all those. It was a really great experience. But then when I found out that I got animated about music, sat up, and I was like, I want to do this.
Deadly.
And she told me, let's write it all down. Print out with that picture of Pete Tonga printed out, put on the back of my door. Deadly. And now I'm on 2FM. Like, so, because when I grew up, 2FM is the biggest station in the country. Still is, like, nationally the biggest thing there is, from, you know, from a radio point of view. And I remember when I got on it, it took me 6 years from joining RT Pulse to joining 2FM or more, maybe more. And I remember I had a air freshener, a 2FM air freshener in my car, and I put it on the thing, and it was dried up. It wasn't smelling of anything anymore. And me and Aaron, my son, were driving one day, and I've said it to him. I was like, "This now is it. I'm gonna leave this here until I'm on this station."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And he like fully just nearly takes it for granted now that I'm gonna do everything I say I do, because he's like, "Yeah, sure, it's what you do, like, you know." And you know, if he listens to this, he's exactly the same, and he can do exactly the same. You know, he can do anything by just wanting to.
That's something I was actually
do it.
going to say to you. If he wants to cut Ronaldo's hair in 5 years, he can.
Huh?
If he wants to cut Ronaldo's hair in 5 years, he can.
That's exactly, and you know, through access to people, like you know, I could have someone here next week, and they're like, "I need a cut," and I'll be like, "I'll do an interview with you. I have a guy who can cut your hair."
Yeah,
You know,
there you
and
go.
there's always opportunities, and it's seeing those for what they are. It's not always cool. Okay, your dad doing something for you, but at the same time, you know, I'm not the worst at that.
Yeah.
Getting things done, you know.
If life gives you lemons, take them.
Yeah, I was telling you, make lemonade.
That's
Yeah.
it. What? Sorry, I had a question in my head there. What? It's gone out of the head.
What question would you wanted us to ask that we can ask to the next guest?
To the next guest, are they enjoying their journey to their idea of success? Because that's the bit that they'll enjoy. Because when you get, like, every time I get to one of my goals, I've enjoyed it and the time to it, but then it's gone, and that goal is like moves away then to the side. So if you haven't enjoyed getting to it,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been a good one. You know what I mean? So, or it mightn't have happened for you at all, but I think if you're asking them if they're happy and enjoying the journey towards their success.
I think that's something that I'm after realising recently as well, just from listening to big artists like Central C getting interviewed, and I heard, I think Rick Ross talking about it as well. I don't think I'm a person who enjoys, I don't think success is like one certain place for me. I think success for me is,
You enjoy the pursuit.
I enjoy the journey. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
where everything's going. I'm enjoying completing the goal and setting the next one within the next 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think life is all about getting there. It's not with anything like reading a book. You enjoy reading the book. You don't enjoy when it's finished. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
thought, oh, that was a good book. I really enjoyed reading that. You don't think,
Yeah, because like, say for example, like the three of us now, in 10 years' time, met each other somewhere and was like, "Oh, I have like 20 million euro in the bank, but I'm not doing my podcast anymore and I'm not DJing." And what do you do? Kind of just sit at home,
I'm sitting around all
sitting
day.
around
yeah.
with my 20
Or-
million,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're not like, you might be enjoying the fact you don't have to get up, but you wouldn't have the experience that you're having, or the buzz that you get from the thing that was the successful thing you thought it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of,
And I think this is a weird way of looking at it, but this is the way I personally look at it. See people that win the lottery, like for example, there was a bin man there that won the lottery a few years ago. I think he won 2 million or something like that, and within 2 or 3 years he was back to being a bin man, and he had a near-death experience. He had an overdose. I think that's because that was a person who hadn't set goals for himself and who hadn't got certain things in the journey he was on.
Yeah, you
like
have
in
to
the,
become the
like
person
if he had a goal set to make 2 million, he would have had to get right. I have 20 grand. I have 40 grand. I have 100 grand, and he would have got all of these little small steps, and he would have been able to manage that. And then when he got that 2 million, he probably would have been like, "I really enjoyed that. It's nice looking at that, but let's go for 4." And then he would have kept going. But whereas he was somebody who didn't have anything to do, and he probably, I think humans have to always work towards something. So when he probably quit his job, he'd nothing to do. That's when he started turning to drugs. And I don't know him personally or anything, but that's probably what he lost a lot. Because he's like, "Oh, I'll go and buy that, and I'll buy that, and I'll sit in my big mansion all day, and I'll just sort of let me money run away from me." And that's why things go.
You have to become the person to hold what you want.
Yeah.
Like it talks about in a manifestation, like you have to align with that and be ready for what you want to receive it. Like I do believe that, like you have to actually be the person that holds that mindset to be in a position so you don't lose that position. Like what you were saying, so you don't sit around and fall apart.
Yeah, because even like you look at like Calvin Harris, one of the most successful dance music producers and DJs in the entire world.
Yeah.
And must be the wealthiest, right?
Yeah.
Like he's lives out in Ibiza or wherever. He probably lives all over the world, different places.
Yeah.
Has endless money, you know, but still DJs every week, all through the summer, doing 2 days in Ushuaia.
Yeah.
Like, and he talks about he's 40. He talks about retiring at a certain age from the gigs, and just going to continue to produce music. And obviously he loves, like, that's what he started out with. Calvin Harris, you look back when he started, when he was in his late teens, early 20s, was a live act, playing instruments, keyboards, looping, singing. That was his act at that time, and progressed into what it is now. And like the amount of effort that he puts in every day or every week or every month, and he has all this money that he's come with, and he's got a farm in Ibiza, and he's got all these cool stuff. But I can imagine, like, if he was to just stop, and like probably like at some point everyone retires from the thing that makes them happy, all of their work, like, but retiring from that and just
they find something else.
You'll have to put your creative energy into something else. So like he'll never stop being a creative person.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? He might divert and change, but like I don't think myself and even like when I'm in being creative, like just sports, there's something you could find. Like he could find different things as well as he grow, and find different things that you're passionate about. You could be, it's podcasting now. It could be you could have like you've got great cameras. You could find like you do like bit of videography or other elements that become creative, and then you can get an income and different things. But like it's amazing the way we don't want to stop it. We just want it to keep moving in whatever way.
Built
that's what I was actually like when you mentioned Calvin Harris. If you take a random person who probably has DJ in the back of his mind but has never done it, and you plant him in Calvin Harris's shoes and say he plays one gig for one night as Calvin Harris, so he gets paid Calvin Harris's money, let's just say out of the blue, it's a million a night. He gets that random person then goes home to Calvin Harris's house, he has the million, he's like, jeez, this is nice. It was nice being the DJ there, but I think I'm going to chill back. I'll buy a Ferrari, I'll chill out. I probably lose all that money within the day, but because I think you don't... Calvin Harris wasn't born Calvin Harris, he became Calvin Harris through the journey, and that's why he's going to continue.
Adam.
Yeah,
so no, you're dead right. Like I think we've all have to maintain our passion as long as you can.
What would you say to your 17-year-old self? That was my question from earlier.
Me at 17, I'm just trying to think where I was. So I went to boarding school in Carlow for 3 years. I was 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I moved to Dublin and went to school in Cabra. And so 17-year-old self would have been... Oh, I actually, when I changed schools, I kind of reinvented myself a bit at that time. So I would say to myself, the person who I walked into that second school as is who I am now. Like, so I'm actually, fair play to you. That's what I'd say, because school for me, when I went to boarding school, I was very quiet. And like a lot of lads who were like 12, 13, 14, go into a school. I grew up in Limerick until I was 12. Moved to Dublin with my mum, who's a single mum. And I had to go to boarding school while she travelled for her job. So I was living in Dublin, but I was a culchie.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Carlow, which was in the Midlands. So the dubs that I travelled down to school with said I was a culchie. But then all the people in Carlow, because I travelled from Dublin, said I was a dub. So though I had neither group
Yeah, it's
on my
very
side.
isolating.
And it was a boarding school, so you stayed there Monday to Friday. Stayed there 5 nights a week, sorry. And then went home at the weekends. So I grew up mainly around women, so my mum and her friends and my aunts and stuff. So I was a quiet kid, like. And I got hopped in school every week for 3 years. 2 years. I remember one time I fought back. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually
faced your fears.
Yeah, there was one guy, he was walking towards me, and I was like, it's coming. And I hit him first. And at the time, I would never condone violence, but at that point, I had 2 years of being like, kind of been kicked around.
Yeah, you're pushed to the limit,
And
yeah.
I was like, I remember just hit him once, bang. And the rest of them were like, oh, fair play. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was just that simple. But it was about not allowing people to continue what they were doing. Changed schools, went to Dublin, walked into Declan's in my school in Cabra, and I was like, all right. You know, I was harder than I had been, and I was like, grand, and it was fine.
Never look back.
No, it was grand. It was handy out then. Everyone was sound, and you know.
Daily. Do you want to mention any of your goals you've already set for yourself on this, and you can listen back when you've achieved them?
Yeah. What is the goals is, well, I'm going to release more music, so that's kind of not a given, but like it's a goal I want to do. I release more music next year. I want to play Pasha next summer. That's my goal for next summer. So we'll come back to that and I'll let you know.
Deadly.
So
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And where can everybody find you on social media and the radio and that?
yeah, so on socials, DJ Dave Treacy is all my socials, Instagram, TikTok, all them. And yeah, I'm on 2FM every Saturday night from 8 to 10 with 2FM dance.
Daily, thanks.
It's been an honour.
Anything
Thanks, lads.
anything else you'd like to plug or talk about?
No, I just want to thank you guys. Thanks for reaching out to me,
Cool.
for inviting me here. I love
Thanks for
talking,
coming
as
in.
you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like you guys, and more power to what you're doing. It's brilliant, and I wish you all success and stuff as well.
Thank
a
you.
lot.
I'll take us
It's been
out.
a pleasure.
Episode 58 wrapped up.